Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. In the last session, we have seen what is Docker, why we need to go for Docker, and what is containerization concept, what is the benefit of using this containerization, and Docker installation in our machine, and Docker architecture, what is the Docker file, what is the Docker image, what is the Docker registry, what is the Docker container, how to uh, work with the Docker commands also we have seen, and we are able to run one Spring Boot Docker image, and we are able to access the application, and we are able to run one Python Docker image, and we are able to access one application. Then we had started our discussion related to what is the Docker file and why we need to go for the Docker file, and how to write a Docker file, how to push Docker file to, how to build a Docker image by using Docker file, and how to push the Docker image to Docker Hub account also we have seen. So what is the command to build a Docker image, guys? Docker build -t image tag name space dot. Okay, it is used to build a Docker image. Then we have seen a command called Docker login command. What is the purpose of Docker login, guys? What is the use? To log in into our Docker Hub account. When we should go for Docker Hub login, if you want to push your Docker image into Docker Hub, Docker push your image name. What is the image? To push image into Docker Hub. To push Docker image into Docker Hub account, we are going to use Docker push command. So first you need to build the Docker image by using build command. Then you need to log in into your Docker Hub account. Then you need to push that Docker image into Docker Hub. All right. So today we are going to understand what is this Docker file and how to write this Docker file. Docker file contains set of instructions to build the Docker image. Okay. Generally, we will use file name as Docker file only. Extension will not be available for this file. We will keep Docker file inside our project directory. In order to write this Docker file, there are several keywords available, guys. To write the Docker file, there are several keywords available. So if you want to Dockerize any application, you should know about these keywords. The first keyword is from keyword is available, guys. The first keyword from keyword is available. What is the purpose of from keyword? This from keyword, it is used to specify base image to create our Docker image. Now, I want to create a Docker image for my application. To create a Docker image for our application, we need some base image. To specify base image, we are going to use from keyword. In general, every Docker file will start with a from keyword only. For example, I want to create a Docker image for Java application. So if you want to run the Java application, we need to specify Java as a dependency. I want to Dockerize my Java application. For that, Java software is required. I will specify OpenJDK 17. So when I use this from OpenJDK 17, Docker will download Java 17 version to run our application. So from keyword is used to specify base image to create the Docker image. Basically, what are the dependencies are required for our application? We will specify them by using from keyword. For example, I want to Dockerize Python application. I want to create a Docker image for the Python application. Then I will specify Python 3.0 or Python 3.3, something like that. When I use Python 3.3, then Docker will download Python 3.3 version to run our application. For example, I want to run one Angular application. To Dockerize the Angular application, Node is required, Node 19. So it will download Node as a dependency. For example, For my application, I want MySQL database from MySQL 8.5. So it is going to download MySQL 8.5 version to run our application. So basically, Docker file is used to specify what dependencies are required to run our application. So we need to tell those dependencies details to the Docker file, to the Docker by using Docker file. In the Docker file, we will use from. From is used to specify base image to create our Docker image. Are you guys able to follow me? What is the from keyword? Are you guys able to follow me? What is the from keyword?
Yes.
From keyword is
Yes,
used
sir.
to specify base image to create our Docker image. So I want Java, or I want to Python, or I want to Node, or I want to MySQL. What all the dependencies required for our application, those dependencies we will specify by using from keyword. You can specify multiple from keywords in the single Docker file. And the next one, the second keyword is available, which is called maintainer keyword. This is optional keyword, guys. Maintainer keyword will be available in the Docker file. It is used to specify who is the author of our Docker file. For every project one, Docker file will be available. It is used to specify who is author for the Docker file. To specify author of Docker file. So in our project, who is one person will create the Docker file in the project, right? Who is that person? Who created this Docker file? To specify author of Docker file, we are going to use this maintainer keyword. It is not mandatory, guys, but it is recommended to specify who created this Docker file. Maintainer, I will give Ashok, and I can give my email ID also, ashok.b@oracle.com, something like this. So from keyword is used to specify what is the base image we need to run our application. What are the dependencies are required to run the application? We will specify by using from keyword. Maintainer keyword is used to specify author of our Docker file. Who created this Docker file? Who created or modified Docker file of our project? Maintainer is optional, guys. Remember that. Note, it is optional. If you don't write also, no problem, but it is recommended to specify the maintainer. And there is another keyword available in the Docker file, which is run keyword. Run keyword is available. What is the purpose of run keyword in the Docker file? It is used to specify the instructions, Linux commands. As I told you, Docker container is a Linux machine. Okay. In that Linux machine, do you want to execute any Linux commands? When the image is creating, those we will specify by using run keyword. Okay. What is the purpose of this run keyword? Run keyword is used to specify instructions, commands. Basically, instructions, nothing but commands. So run keyword is used to specify instructions which are required to execute, at the time of Docker image creation. When my Docker image is creating, I want to execute some Linux commands, guys. Okay. So if you want to execute any Linux commands when the Docker image is creating, then you can go for run keyword. Are you guys able to understand? Are you guys able to understand what is the purpose of this run keyword here, guys? Are you able to understand what is the purpose of run keyword here? Come on.
Yes.
What is the purpose of run keyword?
We use to execute instructions.
Run
To run
keyword
the
is used
command
to
while creating the
specify.
Docker image.
Run keyword is used to specify what are the commands that we want to execute at the time of Docker image creation. For example, when my Docker image is getting created, I want to clone one Git repository. My Docker image is getting created. At the time of creating the Docker image, I want to clone my Git repository. Okay, run keyword, I am going to specify git clone repo URL. Then what my code is available in the GitHub. Docker should clone my Git repository when the Docker image is creating. That I can specify by using run keyword. Then I want to package my project when the image is getting created. MVN clean package goal I want to execute. So like this, any commands that you want to execute when the Docker image is getting created, for those commands, you can use run keyword in the Docker file. Are you able to follow me? What is the purpose of this run keyword here, guys? Are you able to follow me? What is the purpose of run keyword here? Good. From keyword is used to specify the base image to run our application, and maintainer keyword is used to specify who is the author of the Docker file. Run keyword is used to specify instructions that are required to execute at the time of image creation. For example, I want to clone my Git repository. Hey Docker, download Java and clone my Git repository, and you package my project by using Maven. Okay, that we can specify. You can specify by using run keyword. Run keyword is not to download the dependencies. To download the dependencies from keyword. Run keyword to execute a Linux command. That's it. Any command that you want to execute when the image is creating, that you can do by using run keyword. Run keyword will not download the dependencies. Run keyword to execute any Linux command when the image is creating. Are you able to follow me here? Are you able to follow me here?
Yes.
Yes. Now here we can specify multiple run instructions. We can specify multiple run instructions in Docker file. We can specify multiple run instructions in Docker file, and all those will execute in sequential manner. Suppose if you specify multiple run instructions in the Docker file, all those will execute one by one. I want to clone the Git repository. I want to clean and package my project by using Maven. These two instructions I can configure in the Docker file. Like this, you can configure multiple instructions also in the Docker file, and they are going to execute. And next one, there is another keyword is available, which is called CMD. There is another keyword available in the Docker file, which is called CMD. What is the purpose of this CMD? CMD is also used to execute instructions only, commands only. Run keyword is used to specify instructions which are required to execute at the time of image creation. When you go for CMD keyword is used to specify instructions which are required to execute at the time of Docker container creation. What is the difference between run and CMD, guys? What is the difference between run and CMD? Run instructions will execute when the image is creating. For example, I'm going to write one Docker file here. For example, I'm going to write one Docker file here. So in this Docker file, I will specify some instructions to build my Docker image. I will specify some instructions to build my Docker image. Now, by using this Docker file, I will create the image, guys. Docker build command is available to create Docker image. By using this Docker image, I am going to create a Docker container. Inside the container, our application will execute. From the file, we will create the image. From the image, we will create the container. So now, when this image is creating, Docker build command and Docker run command. Build command, run command. So run instructions will execute here. When this phase is happening, run instructions will execute. When this phase is happening, CMD instructions will execute. Okay, run instructions will execute at the time of image creation, whereas CMD instructions will execute at the time of container creation. Are you able to follow me? Are you able to follow me?
Yes.
Run keyword is used to specify the instructions which you should execute when the image is creating. CMD keyword is used to specify the instructions which are executing at the container creation. Okay. Now, for example, generally CMD is used to run the application in the container. By using CMD, we will tell to the Docker container to run our application. I will specify like this: CMD, let me run my Java application jar file, java-jar space jar file name. Suppose I have my Python application. I will tell to CMD, hey Python, my Python code is available. Let's run my Python application. So like this, you can run the commands to run the application by using CMD. CMD keyword is used to specify the instructions which are required to execute at the time of container creation. Run keyword is used to specify the instructions which will execute at the time of image creation. Are you able to understand what is the difference between run and CMD? This is an interview question. What is the difference between run and CMD? Run keyword will execute the instructions at the time of image creation. CMD command will execute the instructions at the time of container creation. And inside a Docker file, you can write multiple run instructions and all those will execute in the sequential manner. Okay. So if we specify multiple CMD instructions, if we write multiple CMD instructions in Docker file, if you write multiple CMD instructions in Docker file, Docker will execute only last CMD instruction. Okay. So if I write these two instructions, it will execute only last one. First one will not be executed. That means, so in the Docker file, only one CMD instruction will be executed. If you write multiple CMD instructions also, there is no use. Only last CMD instruction will be executed in the Docker. Are you clear with my point? Now, let me prove this. Let me prove this technically, practically here. I don't have any file here. I'm opening my git bash here. I'm opening my git bash. So currently you can check nothing is available. ls-l, there is no data. There is no data. Now guys, today I'm using Docker in my Windows machine. Okay. So if you observe, this is my Windows machine. I installed Docker in my Windows machine. Can you see Docker desktop now? So my Docker is available in the Linux or my Docker is available in the Windows today? Come on, where it is available?
Windows.
I downloaded a Docker desktop, guys. You go to Google and you simply type download Docker desktop for Windows. Okay, install Docker desktop on the Windows. You can download this Docker desktop software and you can install the Docker in your Windows machine. I installed Docker in the Windows machine and Docker is in the running mode, guys. Engine is running. My Docker engine is running in the Windows machine. Okay, now here I don't have anything here. Let me open my git bash. So by using this git bash, I can perform Docker operations. Actually today my AWS account is blocked, guys. I'm unable to log into my AWS account to launch a Linux machine. In the AWS I had taken a Linux machine. In that I installed Docker and we used that in the last few classes. But today my account is blocked, so I am using Docker in the Windows machine. Tomorrow again I will use Docker in the Linux only because I will create a new AWS account. Fine. Now let me check in the Windows Docker-v. Docker is available or not? Docker is available in my Windows machine. And can you check Docker images? Same commands. Whether you are using in the Windows or Linux, the Docker commands are same. One image is available. I want to delete everything. Docker system prune-a. Okay. I want to delete all the containers and all the unused images, stopped containers. Everything is clean. Now you can check it, Docker images. Okay, nothing is available. And you can see Docker ps-a, nothing is available. It is clean. Okay, good. Next one, I want to write one Docker file and I want to specify, I want to write a Docker file and I want to specify the basic keywords that we have learned so far. What are the basic keywords we learned so far? We learned about from keyword. We learned about maintainer keyword. We learned about run keyword. we learnt about CMD keyword. From keyword is used to specify base image. Maintainer to specify author of the Docker file. Run keyword is used to specify instructions which are required to execute when the Docker image is creating. Basically, cloning the Git repository, doing the Maven package, and all this stuff we can manage by using run. So you can write multiple run instructions and all those instructions will execute in the sequential manner. And when you go for CMD, it is used to specify instructions which are required to execute at the time of container creation. CMD command we are using. If we write multiple CMD instructions in the Docker file, Docker will execute only last CMD instruction. Let me prove it by taking one simple Docker file. So in my system, currently there is no file available. Let me create one Docker file, guys. VI editor I am using Docker file. I'm creating. So Docker file will start with the from keyword. From, I'm specifying Ubuntu. Anything. You can specify Java, you can specify Python. I'm specifying Ubuntu. From Ubuntu. That means I want to download Ubuntu OS for the Docker image creation. Okay. And the next one, I'm going to specify maintainer. The maintainer name I'm giving as something like Ashok. Any name. Who is the maintainer of this Docker file? Who is author of the Docker file? We can specify. Now let me go for run. Okay, in the run, I'm going to specify echo run instruction 1. Run instruction 1. Echo is a Linux command. Echo is used to print a message. In the Java, how system.out.println is available, in the Linux, echo command is available. This echo command is used to print a message on the terminal. It is used to print a message on the terminal. Guys, for all of you, is my video also visible?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Video is disturbance.
No screen. Only screen.
Only screen is visible, huh?
No, sir.
No, sir. Video with a beautiful background.
Video is also available. Video is a disturbance for you. Should I stop it or it's okay?
It's okay, sir.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
I feel like eye connecting.
Sorry?
Eye connect, sir.
I
I
did
mean,
not.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he is trying to say that it's a kind of physical class we are doing by
Okay.
seeing him. In fact.
Okay,
Right
but see, you feel like it's a live session, physical class.
Yes.
Interaction.
Yes.
Okay, bhai. Good. Yeah. So run echo, run instruction 1, run instruction 1. That means run keyword I'm using in the Docker file to execute a echo command. Basically, echo is a Linux command. It is used to print a message. So run instruction 1 I'm writing. I'm writing one more run instruction. So as we discussed, multiple run instructions you can write in the Docker file, and all those instructions will execute in the sequential order one by one. Okay. Next one, I'm going for CMD instruction, guys. CMD echo, I'm going to specify CMD instruction 1. CMD instruction 1. And the next one, CMD echo, I'm specifying CMD instruction 2. So 2 run instructions I'm writing, 2 CMD instructions I'm writing, 1 maintainer keyword I'm writing, 1 from keyword also I'm writing. From Ubuntu. That means I want to download Ubuntu. For example, in future, I want to download Java. Then what I will specify? From OpenJDK 70. OpenJDK 70. Then Docker will download Java 17 version to create the Docker image for our application. Okay? Currently, I don't have any application. Just we are understanding how to work with the Docker file. What are the keywords available? So we discussed about 4 keywords as of now. Are you clear with all these 4 keywords? From, maintainer, run, and CMD. Run is going to execute when the image is creating. CMD will execute when the container is creating. So here, basically CMD is used to run the application in the container. Only one CMD will execute, that too last CMD will be executed. Okay, let me save my Docker file, guys. With this, my Docker file is ready. ls-l. Okay, so good. Next one. Let me cat this Docker file. In Windows machine, I'm using git bash and I'm executing all the Linux type of commands. Cat command, which is used to print the content of the file. Cat command is used to print the content of the file. Perfect, guys. Good. Fine. You can specify multiple dependencies also, Shivani. I already told you. Multiple from keywords you can specify to download the dependencies. We'll come to that. Once I start the application, I will show you how to download multiple dependencies by using from keyword. Currently, I'm specifying one dependency. All right. So here we have our Docker file, guys. Here we have our Docker file. And let me check Docker images. Is there any Docker image available? Docker image is not available. Docker image is not available. Now I want to create the Docker image. कैसे create करते भाई? How to create the Docker image? What is the command?
Docker pull.
Docker
Docker
build.
pull with username.
Docker build.
pull.
Docker
Docker
build
pull is
hyphen
used to
T.
create the Docker image. हाँ दिमाग खराब हो गया क्या?
Docker
Docker
build
build.
hyphen T.
Docker build.
हाँ.
Hyphen
Docker
T.
pull is used to download the image. I want to create the image.
Docker
Understand
build
the
hyphen
question?
T.
Docker build, sir.
Image name
Docker.
dot.
हाँ.
Build.
Docker build
Hyphen
hyphen
T.
T image name.
Image
Tag
name.
name. Tag name nothing but image name. Okay. So here I'm going to give Docker build hyphen T image name application 1. Image name application 1 space. Where is the Docker file available to create the image? In the present working directory. So whenever you execute this command by using dot, it will search for the Docker file in the present working directory. Using that Docker file, it will create the Docker image. Now you check it. Docker build hyphen T space image name space dot. That dot represents current working directory. In the current working directory, my Docker file is available. By using that Docker file, it will try to create a Docker image. Now, observe carefully. When I am creating the Docker image, run commands will execute. Run commands will execute because image is creating. CMD commands should not execute. Only run commands should execute when the image is creating. CMD commands should not execute when the image is creating. Now execute it. Okay, observe carefully the output. Docker build from Docker IO. It is downloading the Ubuntu from the Docker Hub. I have given from keyword, right? It is downloading Ubuntu from the Docker Hub. Run instruction 1, run instruction 2. Now can you see here, Docker image got created. Run instructions are executed. Run instructions are not executed.
Execute.
My run instructions are executed. My run instructions are not executed.
Executed.
When the run instructions are executed, when the image is created. One run instruction is executed. Both run instructions are executed.
Both
Both.
are executed.
Both
One
are
is
executed.
executed or both are executed.
Both are
Both are executed.
Both are executed. Okay,
Both are
CMD is executed. CMD is not executed.
CMD is not executed.
CMD executed or CMD not executed?
Not executed.
Because it's
Okay.
Docker.
Not executed. Perfect. Now let us see Docker images. Can you see app1 Docker image created 51 seconds ago?
Yes.
51 seconds ago, my Docker image is created with a name called app1. By using this app1, I want to create a container. What is the command? Docker run hyphen D. Docker run hyphen D. What is the image name? App1. If you want, you can do the port mapping also. But currently, my Docker container does not have any port. It's not a real Docker file. It's a dummy Docker file to understand the commands. Docker run hyphen D app1. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that?
Application with
Run the Docker file in detached mode.
Detached mode we are running the
Yes,
process.
we are trying to run the Docker image. We are trying to run the Docker image, which will create a container. Okay? Now let me
Can we
use
see that
Docker run
app1 image?
Docker run app1. I'm using Docker run app1. Now see this. What
Sir,
happened?
can we
guys?
see app1? Hello? Sir,
We'll
can
come
we
to
see
that, sir.
app1 image?
Hold on. Okay, so image name already we are able to see. App1 is the image name. Okay, now Docker run app1. So what is the purpose of run command? To create a container. When I create a container, CMD instructions are executed. Two CMD instructions are executed, or only last CMD instruction is executed?
Last CMD.
Last CMD.
Right. So technically, if we write multiple CMD instructions in the Docker file, Docker will execute only last CMD instruction. Practically, this is the proof. If I run this once again also, last CMD instruction is getting executed. So is there any use of writing multiple CMD instructions in the Docker file? There is no use of writing multiple CMD instructions in the Docker file.
No use.
There is no use of writing multiple CMD instructions. Only one CMD instruction is sufficient. And that too, in the project's implementation, CMD instruction is used to run our applications in the container. By using CMD, we will run the application in the container. Docker will use CMD instruction to run our application by using CMD in the container. Okay. Are you clear with what is the difference between run and CMD?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Next one, there is another keyword is available which is called copy keyword. There is another keyword is available which is called copy keyword. Basically, it is used to copy the files from source to destination. Okay. It is used to copy instruction. Copy instruction is used to copy the files from source to destination. Source to destination. Basically, by using this copy, we will copy application code from the host machine to container machine. It is used to copy application code from host machine to container machine. Source is host machine, destination is our container. What is the meaning of a host machine, guys? In which your Docker server is available, which is a host machine. And what is the destination where that code should be executed, guys? That code should be executed in the container machine. Yeah. So now my code is available in the host machine. Project jar file or war file, project Python files, they are available in my host machine. But this code should be executed in the container machine. So we need to copy the code from our host machine to container machine. To do that copy, we are going to use copy command in the Docker file. Copy instruction is used to copy the files from source to destination. It is used to copy application code from host machine to container machine. What is the example for that? Example, we are going to use copy. In my project, target directory is available. In the target directory, I am having one application jar file. Okay, whenever you build a Java project, jar file or war file will be created. That jar file or war file will be created inside the target directory. I want to copy that jar file from the project target directory to container. Inside the container /user/app directory is available. So this is the path in the Linux machine. Container machine is also a Linux machine. So I want to copy the project jar file or war file from my host machine to container machine. This is the source and this is the destination.
Yes.
Are you clear? Could you please read this one again? What is this, guys? Copy. Copy instruction is used to copy the files from source to destination, and it is used to copy the application code from host machine to container machine. So this is one example I have given. For example, my application is having a war file, target directory, and webapp.war. I want to copy that into user app. What is this user app? Where this user app directory path will be available?
Container.
Container machine. And what is this target web app.war? In the host machine, project target directory contain the war file. For example, my project is having Python. Okay, target, sorry, not target. For Python, target is not available. App.py file is available. And that app.py Python application code, I want to copy into app directory. Something like this. So if you want to copy your application code from host machine to the container machine, we are going to use copy keyword. All right. Next one. There is another keyword is available, which is add. What is the keyword, guys? Next keyword? Add.
Yeah.
Okay. This add keyword, copy instruction is used to copy the files from source to destination. Similarly, add keyword, add instruction is used to copy the files from destination. Whatever that you are doing with the copy, same thing we can do with the add also. Add instruction is used to copy the files from source to destination. Sir, then what is the difference between copy and add? What is the difference between copy and add? The difference is when you go for copy, it can just copy from the host machine to target machine. Whereas when you go for add, you can copy the files from source to destination. You can copy the files from source to destination app.jar /user/app. This is possible. We can copy. Another advantage with the add keyword is by using add keyword, you can specify file URL which is available in the internet also, and you can copy that. If your file is available in the internet, I want to download that file from the internet and I want to copy. By using add keyword, we can achieve that. Suppose
Like
file
Nexus.
is, sorry?
Like Nexus.
Yes, sir. Somewhere, anywhere you have in the Nexus or you have in the GitHub, somewhere, wherever you have the file. So in the internet, you have the file. By using URL, you can download the file. File URL you can specify and it will copy the URL from the internet to the destination. Whereas when you go for the copy, only the existing source file in the same machine will be copied to container machine. Add keyword, it can take the source or it can take the HTTP URL also to download the file and add that file to the destination. Copy and add both are same, but there is a small difference available. What is the difference between copy keyword and add keyword? What is the difference between copy keyword and add keyword?
Copy will do from local machine to container machine, and add will do same work of copy, plus add can copy from the internet to the container machine.
It can copy from the internet also, and it can download from the internet and it can add to the container machine by using add keyword. And the next one,
During image creation or container?
I'm not getting your question. I will take your question at the end of the class, guys. Okay. Next one, work directory is available. There is a keyword called work directory. So it is used to change the working directory. Work dir instruction is used to change working directory. Is used to working directory in container machine. Now, for example, I have done the copy. Example, I have done the copy my jar file target/app.jar to user app directory. User app directory is available. Now, where is the project jar file in the container? Where is the project jar file in the container?
User app.
User
User
slash app dash slash.
It is available in the user app. Now, I will tell to the Docker, hey Docker, go to user app directory, work dir. So I am telling to the Docker to go to that directory called user app directory. After going to that directory, there is a jar file available. You execute to that jar file by using Java. So generally, we can write like this. Now tell me, what is the work dir instruction is doing in the Docker? What is the work dir doing in the Docker?
Changing the directory.
Yes, it is basically used to set the working directory or to change. Work dir instruction is used to set or change working directory in the container machine. Okay, first I want to copy the jar file to container machine path user app, then go to that path, then execute that jar file by using CMD instruction. Are you able to follow me? What is the purpose of these three commands are doing in the Docker file? Are you able to follow me how to perform these operations in the Docker? Copy the file and go to that directory and execute the jar file by using CMD instruction. I hope it is clear for everyone. Please confirm in the chat box. What is workdir?
Sir, I have
Changing
one
the
question.
directory.
Yes, it is used to change the directory, or it is used to set what is our working directory, from which location we want to execute our application. That we can specify by using this workdir command. We can specify that by using workdir command. Very good. Next one, there is another command available, guys, in the Docker file, which is expose. There is another command is available in the Docker, which is expose. What is the purpose of this expose in the Docker? Okay, it is used to expose instruction. Expose instruction is used to specify application running on which port number. Basically, container port. Inside the container, we are running our application. Excuse me, guys. Now, we are running our application inside the container machine. So inside that container, what is the port number is used by our application? That port number we will specify by using expose. Expose instruction is used to specify application is running on which port number. Application will use which port number. Application is running on which port number. Suppose, for example, my application is running on the port number 8080. This is just for giving the information for the people who are reading your Docker file. If I specify 8081, application will not run on 8081, guys. If I give 8084 or 8088, application will not run on the 8088. Okay, it is just to provide the information for the other people to understand on which port number your application is going to execute. It is just to provide the information about the container port number for the other users who are reading our Docker file. Are you able to follow me? Are you able to follow me? What is expose? Are you able to follow me? What is expose?
Yes.
What is the purpose of expose keyword?
To provide only
We
container
tell
port.
the it
Yes.
is for the
Expose
value
instruction. Expose instruction is used to specify application is running on which port number. By using expose, can we change the application port number also? Is it possible? Can
No,
we
no,
change?
No,
no.
Can we change application port number by using expose, or we can't change the application port number by using expose?
we can't change.
Come on, boys.
You can change.
We can't change the application port number. We can't change the application port number by using expose. What port number application should use, the developers will decide that in the code. Okay. So which port number we are using for our application, that we need to configure by using expose keyword. All right. Now let's come back. So can you guys tell me what is the purpose of from keyword in the Docker file? Come on, first.
It is
To
used to
specify the
specify
base
basic
image.
Specify
the
the
base
dependencies to download.
It is used to specify what dependencies Docker should download for our application. We will specify them by using this one from keyword. Okay. From keyword is used to specify what images are required, what softwares are required, what dependencies are required for our application. We will specify by using from keyword. Then what is the purpose of maintainer keyword, guys?
It is the
It is
author
used
of
to
the
describe the
Docker.
author of the
Is
document.
used to specify who is the author of our Docker file, who created or who modified this Docker file can be maintained by using maintainer keyword. Is it mandatory to write the maintainer?
No.
Optional.
Option.
Optional.
Next one, run keyword is available. What is the purpose of run keyword in the Docker file? What is the purpose of run keyword in the Docker file?
To
To
execute
run the
the
instructions.
Docker image.
The image
Run
creation.
keyword is used to specify the instructions which are required to execute at the time of Docker image
Image
creation.
creation.
Okay, what is the Docker image is getting created for at the time of image creation? If you want to run any command, then go for run. You can suppose, for example, I want to download the code. I want to package that code. That can be done by using run keyword. So if I write multiple run instructions in the Docker file, then what will happen by?
It will be executed by sequence.
One after other, all the run instructions will be executed. What is the purpose of CMD?
It is used to
What is the
run
purpose of CMD?
specific command.
To run the
Execute the Docker container creation.
container
Yes, if
creation.
you want to execute any command, when the container is creating, then you can go for CMD. CMD keyword is used to specify instructions which are required to execute at the time of container creation. Samjha? CMD keyword is used to specify instructions which are required to execute at the time of Docker container creation. So run at the time of image, basically downloading the code, packaging the code can be done by using run. But application execution we can handle by using CMD in the
CMD.
container. Okay, good. Next one. What is the purpose of copy keyword in the Docker file?
Copy from one source to
Copy
the
the file
source
from
destination.
destination.
It is used to copy files. Basically, any data, any file that you want to transfer from your host machine to container machine. What is the meaning of a host machine, guys? What do you mean by host machine? Where your Docker software is installed, that is called host. Today, my host is Windows. In the Windows machine, I am running the Docker. So yesterday in the last session, last Saturday, I have used Docker in the Linux machine. So in the Saturday session, my host is a Linux machine. In today's session, my host is a Windows machine. Docker you can use in the Windows as well as you can use in the Linux also. Okay, I want to copy my application code. I want to copy my application code from the Windows machine to Linux machine or source machine, source to destination, host machine to container machine. For that, I can use copy. Generally, to copy the application code to the container, we will use copy instruction. Code is available in the host machine. By using run, we downloaded the code from the GitHub. And by using run, we packaged our code. Okay. Then by using copy, we are going to copy the files from source to destination. Destination is our container machine, container path. Once the code is copied to the container, I want to run that code. To run that code, I'm going to use the CMD. Okay. And the next one, copy is there and add is available. What is the purpose of add now? What is the purpose of add now?
So to add
Add
the
is also used for
Both are used to
copy.
copy. Add command extra. It can download from the HTTP URL and it can copy to the destination. Copy means only host machine data it can copy. Then what is workdir?
to change the directory.
Workdir. Workdir instruction is used to set or change working directory in the container machine. Yes, workdir user app. Why I am going to the user app? Because my file is copied to user app for execution. Copy target directory jar file copy to user app. Then go to user app. Then run the application jar file by using CMD. Then what is expose keyword here?
to
What is
expose the
export
port
keyword here?
content
Specify the application port number.
Expose keyword is used to specify what port number your application will use for execution. Application is running on 8080 or 3000 or 5000 or 9000 or 8081, 9091. What port number is configured for the application? That we will specify in the Docker file. Is it mandatory to specify expose in the Docker file?
No.
No. Why then? Why we need to specify the expose in the Docker file? Just for your understanding purpose. So today I am writing the Docker file for the Java application. I am from the Java background. I know that Java application will use a Tomcat 8080 port number. Suppose tomorrow one pure DevOps engineer joined in the project. DevOps engineer don't know Java, then how he will know on which port number application will run? The DevOps engineer will know about the Java applications port number. DevOps engineer don't know about the Java applications port numbers. He don't know. So now, for example, in my project, Docker file is created by developer only. That deployment will be taken care by DevOps engineer. So Docker file is available. DevOps engineer will take the Docker file, will create the Docker image, will create the Docker container. He don't know what port number to map. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Then what is the purpose of this expose keyword now?
Just
So
for
based on that,
Just
they
to
can see
mention
and
and on which port number your application will execute. So developers will specify expose 8080. That means my application will run on the port number 8080. Hey, DevOps engineer, when you are doing the port mapping, you map 8080 port number to the host machine port number. Then you can access the application. So it is just to provide the information about the port number of the application. Suppose if I configure 8089 here, application will not use this 8089. Application is using 8080 only. You are misguiding the people. Application running on 8080. On the expose, you configure 8089. You are giving the wrong information to the team members. Are you getting my point? If I configure 8080, then they will understand. Okay, this application will run on the port number 8080. When I'm doing the port mapping, I need to use it 8080 to map it to the host port number. Are you clear with my point now? समझ में आया guys?
Yes, sir.
So
समझ में आया
this
समझ में
one
नहीं आ रहा?
समझ में आ
Yes,
रहा
sir,
है
got
सर,
it.
ये पोर्ट नंबर डेवलपर डिसाइड करेगा या कौन?
The developers, I mean, generally in the applications, we will decide some for every application, some standard port numbers are available, sir. We don't change them. For
अच्छा,
example,
okay.
when you go for Java, the standard port number is 8080. If required, we can change. Generally, it's not required. If you go for React application, standard port number 000. When you go for Angular application, standard port number 4200. Some for every technology, some standard port numbers are available.
Okay, sir. Thank
You got
you.
my point.
Yes, yes,
But it's not mandatory to use them. We can change also.
yes. But it should be support also, right? I mean, if it is not working, then
No problem.
Sir, work directories work like CD command in
CD
Linux.
command only. Correct, sir. CD command.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, when the copy command will execute during the image creation or a container execution?
At the time of image creation, only it will copy the data to the container. That means contain image creation, nothing but image itself is a virtual machine, Linux machine. You got my point?
Okay.
Sir, you created a, hi sir,
Bhai, bolo.
you created one image, correct? App one. Can you show how that app one is available in our machine or?
Docker images. This is the command to see image is available or not.
No, I'm GUI asking. Can I see that GUI like?
No, sir. You can't
image?
see like that. You can't
Okay.
see. That's not possible.
Okay, sir,
Only
we
you
can
can see
create
here.
any image.
Sorry?
We can create any type of image like app one, app two, like
Image
anything.
name, आपका मर्जी है भाई. You can give any name.
Okay.
Whenever
Sir,
whenever I am giving Docker build command -t, you can give any name, ABC, XYZ. Generally, application name we will give as an image name, but it's optional. You can give any name for the image. It's your choice. समझा?
Yes.
भाई बोलो yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
ठीक है. Okay, good. So with this, we understood expose keyword also, which is used to specify application is running on which port number. It is used to specify application is running on which port number. Are you clear with my point now?
Sir, how to
Just
add
1 minute.
sir, I have one doubt.
Sir is on mute.
Guys, give me a 1 minute. 1 minute. Yeah, guys, good. Someone is asking a question. Could you please repeat your question, sir? Someone is asking a question. Could you please repeat your question?
Sir, how to add zip file?
How to?
Add zip file.
I did not get your question. How to add zip file?
Yes.
Where you want to add the zip file?
Docker image.
Why?
Suppose when I installing Tomcat.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah,
Tomcat, you don't need to install Tomcat in the Docker manually. Suppose if you want Tomcat for your application, you can specify from Tomcat. What is the version you want? You can specify. Then Docker will download the Tomcat server for you. You don't need to install it.
I mean, for the command, for the add command, I mean keyword,
Yeah.
you said like we can download, we can also move the URL, right?
Correct.
So if that URL is a zip file.
Yeah, that will copy the whatever the zip file you are downloading, it will copy to this path. But suppose, for example, if you download Tomcat as a zip file, just Tomcat zip file will be copied here. The Tomcat server will not run for you.
No, I mean the compression, I mean, we need to just, I mean, unzip the file also, right? Just moving the zip file doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, then you need to write the next command for that. Unzip command you need to write. But that means you need to execute a command again.
Okay, got it.
Question one. So that JR file you have created, right? So what and all the types are there in the application perspective? So
Sir, when you go for Java, jar or var will be available. That's it. Only two formats for Java. When you go for Python, .py will be available. Only one format. When you go for this one, what is this? .NET, .dll files will be available. Okay. When you go for Angular or React, HTML, JS files will be available. So you'll work on different technology based projects, then you will get the clarity. How to work.
If we want to suppose deploy the Java application and into Tomcat, then from OpenJDK or from Tomcat will come.
Oh, no. Here, I am coming to that point. If you want to deploy Java application in the Tomcat server, you no need to specify from Tomcat, from Java. You no need to write the two things. Why? Because when you specify Tomcat, Tomcat software requires Java. So what Docker will do? When you specify Tomcat, that will download Java plus Tomcat both. You no need to specify Tomcat JDK. No need to specify two from keywords. Only the first line is sufficient. In order to run the Tomcat, first Java is required. So Docker is intelligent. Docker will download Java, then it will download and install Tomcat. You got my point?
But sir, Docker will install which version of Java?
You can specify here. I mean, when you go for Tomcat, which version of Java it is going to install, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah. So when you are going to do this, generally we'll specify Tomcat JRE 11, something like this. Then we no need to give this option. If you give this, so Java 11 version, then Tomcat it is going to download the latest version of the Tomcat.
Okay.
There is a official Docker image for that to specify which version of Java, which version of Tomcat that is required to run our applications.
Okay, means based on the image name, we can specify.
Yes, based on the image name, you can specify.
Sir, these softwares from the Docker, from where it will be downloaded, sir?
Docker library will be available, sir. Docker people are having their own library. From there, it is going to download.
In the Docker libraries, all the softwares are available, sir. What
Yeah,
are the latest version, upgraded version?
You can go to the dockerhub.com and you can verify what are the images they are provided and you can use those images. For example, when you go for Docker Hub, so you need to check what images are, what softwares are required for you. For those software Docker images are available or not available, you can check here in the dockerhub.com. Official Docker images.
In that case, okay, in that case, based on available versions, only we need to mention in the right.
Yes. Suppose, for example, I want Java. Okay. So let us check the Docker image Java. Then it will tell you which version of Java is available and what is the image available. If you go for Java here, this Java is a Docker image. So what is the worst tags available? If you use a 24 JDK bullseye, it will download Java JDK 24 version. If you want Java older versions also, these are the simple tags, tag names. These are the tags that you need to specify if you want to download Java. Like this, it will give you the image names which are available in the Docker for downloading purpose. Now, for example, I want to go for Tomcat. I want to download the Tomcat by using Docker. So what is the tag name? Tomcat updated 2 days ago in the Docker Hub. Open the Tomcat. You see the Tomcat tags. Okay, so if you specify JRE21, JRE21 iPhone Timorin Noble, though this is going to download Java 21 version on a Tomcat. Okay, so like this, they have given all the tags based on the requirement. You can use them. You got my point?
Sir, some okay. Something some related licensed versions, right? Some
Those
software. People like Oracle have some Oracle, Java, JDK, all are license related, right? We need to buy and all those
open,
kind
sir,
of risk.
open source available. Open source softwares will be available here. Okay.
Okay, but
Java,
real time it is
Tomcat.
not possible, right, sir? Open source.
No, if you have a paid image, you need to purchase the paid images. Private images will be available. They will ask money. If you pay the money, then they will give the access for that image. Then you can download. So whatever
Those kind
is
of things,
available,
company will be take care.
yes, sir. Company will take care.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for.
Good, guys. Fine. With this, we understood Docker keywords, and there is another keyword is available in the Docker, which is called entry point. What is the keyword available, guys? What is the keyword available?
Entry point.
It is used to execute instructions. It is used to execute instruction when container is getting created. Okay, so entry point basically is alternate for the CMD. Entry point is used as alternate for CMD instructions. Is used as alternate for CMD instructions. Already we have seen the CMD. What is the purpose of the CMD here? What is the purpose of the CMD here? It is used to execute the instruction when the container is creating. Same thing we can do by using entry point also. Observe. What is the purpose of entry point? Entry point is used as alternate for the CMD instructions. Alternate for the CMD instructions. Sir, by using CMD, I can run my Java project. Java space -jar space application.jar. Getting my point? By using entry point also I can do that. By using entry point, I will specify I want to run my Java application. Java, I will specify the jar and I will specify the name of my jar file, which is app.jar. Okay, so here both are going to do the same thing. By using CMD, I can run my jar file when the when the container is getting created, and by using entry point also I can do. By using entry point also I can do this one. By using entry point also I can do this. 1 minute, guys. All right, guys. So we are talking about entry point. What is the purpose of entry point? Entry point is used to execute the instruction when the container is getting created. Entry point is used as alternate for the CMD instructions. You can run the application by using CMD and you can run the application by using entry point also. Sir, then which one is recommended? CMD is recommended or entry point is recommended? In my point of view, entry point is recommended. Sir, why entry point is recommended? Why not CMD? So what is the problem with the CMD is, suppose in the Docker file, I have created something like this, guys. I specified from keyword and I specified openjdk colon 11 or 17, something like this. Then I'm specifying copy my project jar file from target directory to the user app directory. Then I'm going to work dir user app directory. Now I'm going to write CMD. Now I'm writing the CMD java space -jar app.jar. Okay, so can I say this is a Docker file now? And I'm going to specify here expose 8080. What is the meaning of that expose 8080, guys?
Specify the port.
Port
of the
number.
application.
Container port.
My application is going to run on the container port. So this is a Docker file to run the Spring Boot application in the Java. So if you have a Java Spring Boot application will be packaged as a jar file. So in order to run that Spring Boot application, I'm telling to download Java for this application execution. Application is packaged as a jar file. Copy the jar file into user app directory, and go to that user app directory location. Then execute the jar file by using CMD expose 8080. Expose 8080. So now here, can you understand this Docker file? Is there any problem available?
No,
No.
understood.
Any confusion in this one?
No confusion.
So it is mandatory to write working directory, sir.
Sorry?
It is you to mandatory to write working directory.
Even if you make it now, you can keep this here also, but you need to tell that, right, where to copy. This file is available in the host machine. Where it should copy? It should copy in this location. You need to specify like this. You can also do like this. Either copy first or work dir first. Anything is fine.
Yes, sir.
You got my point. Now, the problem here with the CMD. The problem with the CMD is, guys, when I am going to run the Docker container, Docker run, first I am going to create the image. Docker build -t app1 space dot image is created. Then Docker run -d -p 8080 colon 8080. How I will know this container is running on 8080 port number? By looking at the Docker file.
By using expose.
Expose will tell me 8080. Now I will specify my image name, which is app1. Okay. If anybody execute like this, no problem. So this is the Docker file for the Spring Boot application, and we will create a Docker image for using Docker file, and we will run the container by using this. But the thing is, when we are running the container here, guys, we can pass CMD is equal to some other option, echo hello. If I pass the CMD like this, then what will happen? Application will be executed and hello will be printed.
The last
Hello will be printed.
Hero will print it.
That means whenever you
We
have
are overwriting.
because I already told you, right? When you write multiple CMD instructions, what will happen?
The
will
last
override.
CMD
Last one will
execute.
execute.
Latest
So
one.
people can overwrite the CMD instruction available in the Docker file like this. People can override the CMD instruction available in the Docker file like this. So that is the reason it is recommended to execute the application by using entry point. When you write the entry point, people cannot override that. This is an interview question. So CMD will execute instructions when the container is creating. Entry point also will execute the instruction when the container is creating. Basically, this is CMD and entry point we will use to run the applications. In the container, my application should execute. When the container creating, what is the meaning of container creating? One machine is creating. In that machine, I want to run my application. That is called containerization. By using CMD, I can run. By using entry point, I can run. But if I write the CMD, people may override my CMD. So that is the reason in the real time also, we will use entry point. Okay. Suppose if you have a requirement, today I am writing a Docker file with CMD. In future, I may want to override the instruction. Then you can go with the CMD. If you don't want the people to override your instructions, then you can go for entry point.
Entry point.
Are you clear with my point? What is the difference between CMD and entry point, guys? What is the difference between CMD and entry point?
Entry
What
point
is the
will not
difference between CMD and entry point? What is the difference between CMD and entry point? CMD instructions we can override, whereas entry point instructions we cannot override. CMD instructions we can override. Entry point instructions we cannot override. CMD instructions we can override, whereas entry point instructions we cannot override. Are you clear with my point?
Sir,
Okay.
if we take CMD and entry point in same Docker file, then which one is executed first?
That means if you write both one after other, both will execute.
Okay.
Okay, good. So, but generally we will use only one, not both. To run the application, we will run only one time, not two times. In one container, application will run only in one time. Application will run only one time in one container, not two times. Only one, not both. Good. So with this, the very important Docker keywords we have learned, and a few more keywords also available. env keyword is available, user keyword is available. Okay, user keyword is available. Currently, I am not talking about the user keyword. First, we will do some applications practice. Then I will tell you what is the purpose of this user keyword. Okay, now, do you know what is the from keyword? Come on, guys.
Yes.
What is the
Just
from
download
keyword?
the dependency for the application.
Which dependency required for our application we can specify by using from keyword. What is the maintainer keyword? What
It
is
is the author of the Docker
maintainer?
file.
Easy to specify the author of the Docker file.
Who is the author of the Docker file? What is the run keyword?
This command will run the when the
Execute
image will be created.
Any
image is
instruction,
created.
any instruction that you want to execute when the image is created, we can go for run. Basically, to download the code, to package the code, we can use the run instructions. Okay, CMD. What is the purpose of CMD?
To run the command when the
To run the instruction while running the
Basically,
container.
CMD is used to execute the instruction when the container is created. Basically, we will use it for application execution process. Application execution process we are going to do by using this CMD. All right. Next one, copy. What is the purpose of copy?
to copy the source code
To move the
Whatever
from the
the
machine to the
source to
container.
destination.
Yes, it is used to copy the files from the source to destination.
destination.
Then what is the purpose of add?
That
Same.
also
Yeah,
comes
and also is
But it will support URL based copy. It will support URL based copy. Next one, work dir. What is the purpose of work dir?
for changing
Changes at
The working directory.
Directory.
in the container.
Yes. To set the working directory, we will go for work dir. Basically, to change the directory, to change the path. Okay. What is the purpose of expose keyword?
To
To
specify
specify the
mention the
number for the
application port number.
The port
Yes.
of the
To specify container will be running on which port number, we will use expose. What is the purpose of entry point, guys?
Entry point also it's like
point is same
What is
as
the purpose of entry
is
point?
a kind.
Execute the
It is used
commands
to specify
while
the
creating the
command
container.
of
when the
Basically,
It will
entry
not
point.
override the
It is also used to run the application. It is also used to run the application where we cannot override the entry point instructions. CMD instructions we can override. Entry point instructions we cannot override. User. Basically, What last command? Let me tell that also, so that we'll finish all the keywords of the Docker file. There is a keyword in the Docker file called user keyword is available. There is a keyword available in the Docker file which is called user. So basically it is used to specify. It is used to specify with which user you want to execute the commands in the container machine. With which user you want to execute the commands in the container machine. So by default, when the container is executing, whatever the Docker file commands are available, these Docker file commands, run instructions, CMD instructions will be executed. By default, they will be executed as a root user. By default, they will be executed with the root user privileges. For example, when I am executing one run instruction, okay, run echo some hi. This will be executed, a command, Linux command. In the Linux machine, root user will be available. Root user is going to execute this command in the container machine. But I want to execute this command with my user account in the Linux machine called Ashok IT user. So if I set the user is Ashok IT, so in that container machine, Ashok IT user account will be used to execute these commands. Like this, if you want to execute the Linux commands with particular user, then you can specify the username by using this user command. You got my point?
Yes, sir.
If the username is not available, what happens?
You can create it. If you create, it will be available. You need to create that first, then you need to use it to execute the commands.
By default, it is using root, right?
By default, it is root, sir.
Okay, thanks.
It is used to set user account to execute commands in Docker file, to execute Docker file commands. By default, it will use root user. If you don't set the user, it will use the root user. Suppose you don't want as a root user, you want to execute as a other user, then you can use user keyword to set the user account to execute the commands available in the Docker file. Are you clear with my point?
Yeah. In case that user is not existed, okay.
It will fail.
Yeah.
It will fail.
You throw the error, right?
Yes, it will stop in the middle. It can't execute.
Okay.
Perfect. Now, guys, let us understand how to write a Docker file for Spring Boot application. Okay. Dockerizing Spring Boot application. Java. I will teach multiple applications, guys. So Java Spring Boot application, Java web application, Python application, React application, Angular applications, multiple applications we will deploy by using Docker. So first I am going for Dockerizing Spring Boot application. So first thing that we need to understand, Spring Boot is a Java framework. Spring Boot is a Java framework to develop Java based applications. Okay. So what is Spring Boot? Spring Boot is one Java technology, guys. It is a Java framework to develop Java based applications. Spring Boot applications. Now remember one point. When we are dealing with Java Spring Boot applications will be packaged as jar file, not war. Generally, when we are talking about Maven, we discussed that. Standalone application will be packaged as a jar file. Web applications will be packaged as a war file. That is before Spring Boot. So earlier, Java is available from 1991. Okay. At that time, they decided, Sun Microsystem decided, if your Java project is a standalone application, package as a jar file and run the jar file. If your Java application is a web application, package as a war file and deploy the war file in the server. That is the standard from 1991 to 2015. In the 2015, this hero came into market, Spring Boot. Any project, whether it is a standalone project, whether it is a web application in the Java, you can run as a jar file. That is the concept of Spring Boot. So when you are working as a DevOps engineer, if your project is based on the Spring Boot, you need to understand that every Spring Boot application will be packaged as a jar file only. Whether it is a standalone or whether it is a web application, it doesn't matter. Spring Boot applications will be packaged as a jar file. To run the jar file, we will use below command. Java command. What is that? Java space -jar space jar file name. What is that, guys? What is the command to run a jar file?
Java space -jar with application.
Cap.jar. Okay, good. Note. When we run Spring Boot application jar file, internally Spring Boot will use Tomcat server as embedded container. That means in general, to set up the web application execution, we need a Tomcat server. But Spring Boot, when you are using Spring Boot for your application, Spring Boot itself will use a Tomcat for you. You no need to tell that, hey, Docker, I want a Tomcat to run the Spring Boot application. No, you just package your Spring Boot project as a jar file. Then you just need to run the jar file. When you run that jar file, what will happen? Spring Boot will download the Tomcat. Spring Boot will use the Tomcat. That concept is called embedded container concept. That is one of the biggest advantage available with the Spring Boot in the market. Embedded container concept available in the Spring Boot. That means you no need to set up the servers to run the Spring Boot application. Spring Boot application will be packaged as a jar file. Whether it is a standalone application or whether it is a web application, Spring Boot application will be packaged as a jar file. To run that jar file, this is the command we will use. When you run the Spring Boot by using this command, internally it will use a Tomcat server as an embedded container with the default port number 8080. What is the meaning of that, guys? So when you run the Spring Boot application jar file, then what will happen? Internally, it will run in the Tomcat server. Its port number is 8080. Sir, can we change that Tomcat port number from 8080 to a different port number? Yes, developers can change it in the Spring Boot project. In the Spring Boot project, we can tell to Spring Boot, hey Spring Boot, don't run Tomcat on 8080. I don't like 8080. My favorite number is 9090. Use 9090. Like that, you can change the port number in the Spring Boot application also. Previously, if you see the first Spring Boot application we executed in the last session, what is the port number available for the container? This is Spring Boot project only. But what is the port number available for the Spring Boot project? 8080 or 9090?
9090.
What is the meaning of that? I have changed it. Why Spring Boot is running on 9090? I configured that port number in the Spring Boot project. Suppose if you don't change, if you don't change now, then by default, Spring Boot application will run on the port number 8080 only. The container port number is 8080 only. Could you please read these points once? How to Dockerize a Spring Boot application. Spring Boot is a Java framework to develop Java-based applications. Spring Boot applications will be packaged as a jar file. Both standalone and web will be packaged as a jar file. To run the jar file, we will use this command. And this point is very important for the DevOps people, guys. You remember this point very carefully. All the Java developers know about this concept, especially DevOps engineers. So we are new to this Spring Boot mechanism, right? So you need to remember this concept very carefully. In the interview also, they will ask you, if you specify your project is a Spring Boot, then they will ask you, can you write the Docker file for the Spring Boot? You are not using Tomcat in the Docker file, then how Tomcat server will be available to run the Spring Boot? This point you need to mention in the interview. Boss, when we run the Spring Boot application, it is having embedded container concept. When you run the Spring Boot application jar file, automatically Tomcat will be downloaded by the Spring Boot only, and it will run the Spring Boot application in the Tomcat server with the default port number as a 8080. All the Java developers knows this concept because every day they will deal with this embedded container in the Spring Boot. So especially who are in only DevOps domain, for those people, this point is very important because this point will change the way we will write the Docker file. Suppose my Java application is not using Spring Boot, then Docker file will be different. If my Java project is not using Spring Boot, then Tomcat I need to download to run my project. Suppose if my Java project is developed on the Spring Boot, I no need to download the Tomcat. So based on this, the way that we write the Docker file will be different. Java project without Spring Boot, Java project with the Spring Boot, the way of the Docker file will be different. Are you clear with my point?
Yeah.
The way that you will write the Docker file will be depends on, but both are Java projects only, guys. Java project 1, Java project 2. One Java project is a normal Java web application. There is no Spring Boot. That project will be packaged as a WAR file. For that, we need a Tomcat for execution. Another Java project we developed with the Spring Boot that is packaged as a jar file. For that, Tomcat is inbuilt. You no need of Tomcat for that. So that difference, if you know, then you can write the Docker files properly. Come on, guys. Able to understand my point?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, Dockerizing Spring Boot application, how this Dockerization will be happening, how to write a Docker file for the Spring Boot. Java Spring Boot application Docker file. Java Spring Boot application Docker file. So Spring Boot is a Java project. So to run this Java jar file command, Java's software is required. I will tell to Docker, hey Docker, download Java for me. How to specify to Docker to download Java?
Using from keyword.
From, okay?
From
Open JDK
Open GDK.
17. Hey Docker, I need Java 17 version to run my application. Hey Docker, I need Java 17 version to run my application. My application will be packaged by using Maven. That project jar file is available inside target directory. Spring Boot application.jar is available in the, we will build that project by using Maven. Then jar file will be created in the target directory. Hey, copy that jar file from my host machine to your user app directory. Now, with this second line, what will happen? With the second line, what will happen?
MKDR.
The jar file will be
Make
copied to container.
Container machine. Now, I should go to that container machine path and I should execute the jar file. Okay. Work dir. What is the purpose of work dir?
Change
To
the
set
working
or
directory.
change the
Changing the directory. I'm changing the directory. After changing the directory, I will run this. CMD is available, entry point is available. Which one is recommended?
Entry point.
Entry point.
Entry point is recommended. Entry point. I will specify entry point. Here, entry point. Execute this. Java -jar. My app name is Spring Boot app.jar. Okay, so this is sufficient if you want to Dockerize one Spring Boot application. This is the Docker file that we need to write to run Spring Boot application by using Docker. And here I will specify container path. Expose. Is it mandatory or optional?
Optional.
Optional. Okay. Anyhow, if I don't specify also, Spring Boot application will run on Tomcat server with the default port number 8080. If I want to give some information for the people who are looking into my Docker file, who are reading my Docker file, they should understand. For them, I am giving expose 8080. You got my point, guys? Now, who is the author of this Docker file? Some name. Okay, I will specify like this. But here, maintainer is optional, expose is also optional. If you want, you can write, or else you can remove them. It's not a big deal. Are you clear with this point, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone who is not able to understand this Docker file now? Anybody who is not able to understand this Docker file now? From keyword, maintainer keyword, copy keyword, work dir, expose, entry point.
Clear all.
Clear for all of you, right? Okay. Now let me take one Spring Boot application which is available in my GitHub account. Spring Boot Docker app is source code. Okay, I have a GitHub account. Let me go to Docker here. Type Docker in my application. Can you see what is that image repository name?
Spring Boot Docker app.
Spring Boot Docker app. The
Docker
Spring
app.
Boot application code is available in my GitHub repository. Okay, guys. Now, in this repository, pom.xml is available. What is pom.xml, guys?
Library.
Maven dependencies, Maven libraries. So to develop this Spring Boot application, what are the libraries are required? People will configure them in this Maven pom.xml. Okay. Now I want to run this project by using Docker. So to run this project by using Docker, Docker image should be created. To create the Docker image, Docker file is required. Now can you see within the source code repository, my Docker file is also available?
Yes.
That is the standard. So in the real time also, in our project Git repository only, we are going to keep the Docker file. And one more thing, go to the pom.xml, guys. See the pom.xml. In the pom.xml, can you see line number 42 here? Can you see line number 42? What is the line number 42?
File name.
File names.
Not
Docker
file
app.
name. Final name. What is the name?
Final name.
Final name. So in the pom.xml build section, I'm configuring final name. The reason is when we package this Spring Boot application, jar file name should be like this. I'm setting the name of the jar file when we package the project. So when you package this Spring Boot application, jar file will be created as Spring Boot Docker app.jar. Like this, I'm defining the name of the jar file of this application. Okay, finally, good. Now go to the Docker file. Now I will open the Docker file, guys, which is already available. Now, can you see anything which you are not able to understand here? Same file, right? Which I have written in the notes, same file is available. OpenJDK colon 11. What is the meaning of OpenJDK colon 11?
11 version.
11 version 11.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, we will create the jar file in the copy.
Sorry?
The copy we are using the target / Spring Boot app.jar, right?
Huh.
So first we need to create that by using a Maven.
Yes, sir. First, we will build this project by using Maven, then jar will be created. Suppose if you don't want to build that project by using Maven, before copy, you can use a run instruction also.
Sir, can we have multiple applications in a single this file, sir?
Generally, we can, that's technically it is possible, sir, but we don't do that in the real time. Container means one Linux machine. In one Linux machine, we can run multiple applications also. There is no problem. Got
Sir,
it?
I have one doubt.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, there is like a parent app, right? In the pom.xml, we can write the first parent version. In that, there is a multiple submodules applications, right? Okay, for that one also Docker file, we can create the same way also, sir?
Yes, sir, you can do that. Okay, guys, are you clear with this Docker file now? What is the purpose of from keyword now?
Yes, sir.
Sir, if it is war, then it should be
If it is war means that is a different story, sir. I told you. Java project without Spring Boot, Java project with Spring Boot. The Docker file will be different because the deployment model is different. That's the reason. First, I have explained here. Spring Boot applications will be packaged as a jar file. To run the jar file, this is the command we are going to use. So to run this Spring Boot application, this Docker file will help you. Suppose if your project is available as a war file, then this Docker file will not work. That is a different way that we need to handle that. That is the next application that I will take without Spring Boot, how to run the Java application by using Docker.
Okay.
Spring
Okay,
Boot is
sir.
not supporting to war.
Sorry, sir?
Spring Boot is not supporting to war. Means war can use in Spring Boot or not?
Spring Boot also you can package as a war file, sir, but it's not required.
And sir, pom.xml is developed by the developer or we as a
Developer, sir. When you create the Maven, pom.xml will be created. Developers will make the changes to that.
Okay, so that is responsibility of developer.
Developers. Correct.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
we need to also mention from Ubuntu also, right?
Not required, sir. When you specify OpenJDK 11, it will download Java in the Ubuntu machine only.
Okay.
It's not required. Okay. So we have our Spring Boot application, which contains the Docker file now. Let me copy this Git repository and let me go here. Let me see Docker file is there. Let me remove the Docker file from my machine. Okay. So in my machine, I am in the 24 DevOps folder. In this folder, I have a Docker folder, subfolder Docker is available. In the Docker folder, is there any content available? There is no content available in the Docker folder now.
No content.
No content. Now my code is available in the GitHub. How to download the code from the GitHub now?
Git clone and that.
Yes,
specific
this option we
URL.
need to follow. Git clone repository URL. So I'm cloning my Spring Boot application into my machine. Now, yes, my project is cloned. Go into project directory, Spring Boot Docker app. I cloned Docker app. In this Docker application, target folder is available. Target folder is not available. No.
Not available.
SRC available. Pom.xml available. Docker file is available. SRC contains source code. Pom.xml contains dependencies. Docker file contains keywords. Now, if I want to run this application by using Docker, what this Docker file is expecting, guys? If I want to run this project by using Docker, if I want to create a Docker image, what my Docker file is expecting here? It is trying to copy.
folder.
It is trying to copy the jar file from host machine to container machine. Okay, so currently, do I have that target folder? I don't have the target folder.
No.
I don't have.
Yeah,
Now, let me package this project. MVN clean package. A Maven goal I am executing, which is used to package my application. When I package the Spring Boot application, target directory will be created. Inside the target directory, my project jar file also will be created. Now, you can see that project is available. Target directory is created. Project build process is happening. Now, jar is getting created. Yes, in the target directory, project jar file is created and build success. In the pom.xml, whatever the final name I have given, with that final name only, my target is created. Now, can you see jar file in the target directory?
Yes.
Can you see jar file in the target directory now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Good. We are able to see the jar file in the target directory. Finally, my jar is available in the target directory. So once the jar is available, can we create a Docker image by using this Docker file now? Docker image is already available. Let me go for Docker system prune-a. Yes, I want to delete it. Yes. Now everything is deleted here. Now let me execute Docker images. When I go for Docker images, what it is saying, guys?
No image.
No images. Now I have my application packaged as a jar. Docker file is also available. Can I build the Docker image now?
Yes.
Can I build the Docker image now? What is the command for that? Docker
build -t
-t space
image name.
Spring Boot application space dot. What is the meaning of dot?
Current directory.
Current directory. It will check for the current directory Docker file. It will check for the Docker file in the current directory. Now enter. It is going to create a Docker image. Now you see downloading OpenJDK from where?
From 11 version.
Docker library. It is downloading OpenJDK from the Docker library. Perfect. It is downloading Java. Because I have specified from OpenJDK 11, it is downloading Java 11 version. Then it will execute the remaining instructions which are available in the Docker file. Once the Docker image is created, Once the Docker image is created, then we can check the images and we can run the images.
Sir, how to write Docker file in Spring Boot?
That is what I have explained now. What are you listening from the last 15 minutes? Sleeping egg.
No, sir. Spring Boot.
This is Spring Boot Docker file only.
How do you integrate this file, sir, in the Spring Boot application, sir?
Sir, in the Git repository, I kept the Docker file in the Spring Boot project only, sir. Here, the Docker file is available in the Spring Boot project only. Just you need to create a file in the Spring Boot project and you need to keep this content in that project. That's it. That is what I have done. This is my Spring Boot project. In that, I have a Docker file. In that Docker file, I have the content.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, fine, guys. So with this, we are able to create a Docker image now. Let us check the Docker images. Let us check the Docker images now.
Yes.
It's created.
Docker image is created or not?
Yes.
Create.
Docker image is created. Okay, Docker images command I've executed. I'm able to see 28 seconds ago my image is created. Now, how to run this image now?
Docker run.
Docker run -d -p. What is the
IP
default
port
port
number.
number?
Repeat.
What is the default port number of this one?
8080.
8080. Let me check it. In my application, did I change the port or not? In the Spring Boot, if you want to change the port number, there is a file, application.properties. Yes, there is no change. Properties file does not have any content. If you want to give different port number, you can keep it in the application.properties file. Currently, I have not changed. If I don't change the port number, what is the default port number of the Spring Boot? 8080. Okay. Then specify image name. What is the image name? SB-app. You got my point?
Yes.
Sir.
Docker run -d -p port mapping SB app. Bus. Docker container is created, guys. Docker container got created. How to check the container is created in the interactive mode, container created in the detached mode?
Detached mode.
What is the meaning of detached mode now?
We can execute other commands.
Other
and
commands I
same.
can execute. Now, can I see Docker PS?
Yes.
Yes, I'm able to see the Docker PS. So this is the container ID. This is the image name I used. This is the command executed in the container to run the application. Container created 25 seconds ago. Port mapping is also added for that. And this is the random name it is taking for the container. I have not given any name for the container. That's why Docker assigned some random name, magical Satoshi, something like this. Some random name it is giving. We can also set the name for the container. Container ID is available. Can I check the logs of the container to see on which port number it is running, guys?
Yes.
How to check the logs of the container?
Docker logs and container ID.
Docker logs, Docker logs, container ID. Paste it. Now, can you see the container logs, what it is saying?
Port number 8080.
Tomcat started. Did I specify Tomcat in the Docker file, or Spring Boot is taking care of the Tomcat?
Spring Boot will
Spring Boot is taking care.
Now currently this application is running in my machine. Okay, this is a Windows machine. No need of IP. So simply I can go localhost :8080. If it is a Linux machine, public IP we will use. If it is a Windows, localhost we will use. Now, am I able to access now my application which is running in the Docker container? Container is a Linux machine. The container port number I map it to host port. My host machine is a Windows machine. So within the Windows, I can access this application by using localhost. Localhost means current machine. Container is running. Container port I map it to Windows machine port. Windows machine is my host machine. So within the Windows machine, browser is available. Localhost :8080. Suppose if I am using Linux as a host machine, public IP :8080. Then I will access my application.
So that port is Windows machine, host machine, or Linux machine?
So Linux machine container port is 8080, which is mapped to Windows machine port 8080. So what is the meaning of -p 8080, guys? Whatever the command I used, -p 8080. What is the meaning of this?
Publish the port.
Container will use
Host
port
and
number
container.
8080. Container will use port number 8080. Map it to 8080 on the host machine. What is our host machine today?
Windows.
All Windows.
So in the Windows, I map it to 8080. Already container port is fixed, 8080. In the Windows, I map it to 8080.
By default, this Windows machine is allowing 8080 port.
Sir, in the Windows, all port numbers will be allowed by default. In the Linux,
Okay.
in the AWS, it will not allow. But in the
Yeah.
Windows, everything will be allowed directly.
Yeah. Okay.
So with this, I hope you got the clarity how to execute one Spring Boot application by using Docker. Are you clear with my point?
Yes, sir, clear,
Yes,
but can you repeat again where to create that file?
Sir, within the project directory, you can keep it, sir. You have the project directory, right? This is your Spring Boot project directory. Within the Spring Boot project, you will create one file, text file, and you will keep that name as a Docker file. That's it. How do you will create normal file? In the same way.
Okay, first of all, we need to create one folder. Inside the folder, we need to create one file. Correct?
First, you need to create one Spring Boot project. In that Spring Boot project, you need to give the Docker file.
The commands which you run in the terminal, git bash terminal, the same commands can be mentioned in the Docker file using run.
Yes, we can do that also. That means git to clone command, maven package, you can specify in the Docker file also using run instruction.
Okay. And
The
when you the sample Docker file at the beginning of the class, you got some error regards to this managing keyword.
Maintainer keyword.
Sorry, maintainer keyword. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that means that's not an error, it's a warning. So if I'm not using in the double quotes, they are saying that it is not valid. It's warning, it's not error. If you get error, image will not be created. It is saying the standard, they are deprecated the way that we need to write the maintainer file, maintainer information. That's warning, not error.
Okay.
So guys, with this, I hope you got the clarity how to write a Docker file to run the Spring Boot application.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
In the tomorrow session, we are going to talk about Dockerizing Java web application without Spring Boot. Java web application, no Spring Boot in that project. Then I will explain how to Dockerize Python application, how to Dockerize Angular application, how to Dockerize React applications. Not just one technology, multiple technologies we will experiment. Dockerizing Python application. Tomorrow we will learn that how to write a Docker file for Python, and we will learn how to write a Docker file for Angular, how to write a Docker file for the React.
So you have created this in Windows machine, right? So how do you access it?
Localhost. Localhost. In the Windows, when you run the application, the URL is localhost:8080.
Okay. Sorry.
You got my point?
Yeah.
Good. Fine, guys. Thank you for attending today. And with this today, 3 classes completed for the Docker.